All right, so let's talk about lots and lot sizes. And this is going to be very important when it comes to understanding how much money you're risking or how much money you could potentially gain once you've executed a trade. Right, and so before I jump into lots, I do want to give a brief recap about pips, just because they kind of go hand in hand. Right, so briefly or previously, we talked about how the Forex market moves in terms of pips. Right, so similar to how you might measure how far a person has walked in terms of steps, you measure how far price has moved in the Forex market in terms of pips, right, from its initial position. So when we talk about pips, right, we now know how to calculate them. We talked about this in my previous video. So if you want in-depth understanding about pips and how to calculate them, definitely check out my last video in this beginner's course. I'll probably leave a link or a tag in this video for that. But when we think about pips, right, so let's say that the market moved 5 pips in our favor. How do we know how much money we just made from that movement? And that's where lots and lot sizes come into play, right? They attach a money amount to a pip movement, right? And so in the next slide, that's what I'm going to show you guys. So for example, you could say that you use a 10-cent lot size, meaning that for every pip that a market moves, you're gaining or losing 10 cents depending on whether or not the market is going in your favor, right? So 10 cents per pip isn't the only lot size. Maybe let's say you have more capital, so you can use a bigger lot size. Let's say you use a dollar lot size, $1 per pip, right? So if the market moves 50 pips, then you just made $50, right? For every pip that the market is moving, you're gaining or losing $1. All right, and of course that's not the only lot size you can use. You can also use a $10 lot size, right? So these three lot sizes aren't the only lot sizes somebody can use. They're just common examples, and they actually have names. Now, another key point that I want to mention is that when you're plugging in a lot size into your MT4 or whatever platform that you're using to execute a trade, you actually have to convert you have to convert it from, I guess, a money amount to something that the MT4 platform can understand, the lot size designation. So 10 cents per pip corresponds to a 0.1 lot, and that's what you would put in your MT4 if you wanted to use a 10-cent lot size, right? So I'll make a video about the MT4 platform and basically how to execute trades in general, but just know 10 cents per pip corresponds to a 0.1 lot. $1 per pip, $1 lot size corresponds to a 0.1 lot, which is referred to as a mini. This one is a micro. These have names, I believe, just because they're common lot sizes used. And then a $10 lot size corresponds to a 1.0 lot, right? And that refers to a standard lot. All right, so I put a box around these values here because I want you guys to know that this is what you're going to be plugging into your MT4, and then this right here on the left is what it corresponds to, right? So if you use a 0.01 lot, that corresponds to 10 cents per pip. All right, so how did I convert 10 cents per pip to a 0.01 lot? All you have to do is move the decimal spot one place to the left. And that's what you can see that I've done here. So I went from 10 cents to 0.01 by moving the decimal place one spot to the left. The same thing here for the dollar per pip, which corresponds to 0.1, and the same exact thing here for $10 per pip, which corresponds to the 1.0, just by moving that decimal spot one place to the left. All right, so here's just a quick example. You guys can pause the video, but I want you guys to basically tell me what $5 per pip corresponds to in terms of lots and what you would plug into your MT4 if you wanted to use a $5 per pip lot size. All right, a $5 lot size. All right, so I'll give you guys a second. All right, so that would correspond to a zero point 0.5 lot, because all you're doing, right, is moving that decimal place one spot to the left. All right, so a 0.5 lot corresponds to a $5 lot size, meaning that for every pip that the market moves, you're gaining or losing $5, depending on if the market moves in your favor or it's going against you. All right, so here's just a quick formula to determine how much you're gaining or losing, right? So you would multiply your lot size, right, the dollar lot size, by the number of pips, and that corresponds to how much you potentially just made or how much you potentially just lost. All right, so definitely remember this formula because it's very important, especially when we talk about risk management, which I'll cover very briefly in this video as well. All right, so here's another example for you guys. This is a scenario that you may face while you're trading. So I just thought I'd present this example to you guys and make sure that you're following along in terms of understanding what's talked about in this lesson, right? So previously we talked about this formula, right? Lot size versus times number of pips equals the total money that you're gaining or losing. So here in this example, I say that Euro USD moves 50 pips in my favor, and I used a 0.01 lot, which means a 10-cent lot size, right? Just based off of the discussion we just had, right? So how much money did I make? Well, 10 cents times 50 pips equals $5, right? Because it moved in our favor. So we just gained $5, right? So you simply just take the lot size you want to use, the amount of pips that the market moved to, and multiply it by the pips the market moved to find out how much you just made or lost. All right. Now, I definitely have to cover risk management, right? So now that we've talked about pips and lots and how to calculate how much money we could gain or risk, we definitely have to talk about risk management, because this is probably one of the most important things when it comes to becoming a consistently profitable trader. The reality is that you're going to have losers. There's no trader out there that wins 100% of the time. But just because you lose does not mean you're a bad trader. You have to learn how to control your losses. You have to learn how to minimize them and then maximize your profits in order to be consistently profitable. So this is something that I will definitely implement into this beginner's course just because it's so important. But I just want to give you guys a first taste of risk management and how you could apply the principles to become a consistently profitable trader. All right, so now that we understand how to calculate pips, how to determine lot sizes and how to calculate lot sizes or convert them from the dollar amount, and also how to determine how much money we're making or losing, I want to present this risk management example to you guys, and let's see if we can figure it out together. All right, so let's say, for example, that you have $1,000 account and you want to risk 1%. That's actually the amount that I risk on every trade, just 1% of my account, just because that is what I've found to work for me in terms of becoming consistently profitable. Risk management is something that I will go further in depth into, but I just want to present this example to you guys now that we know how to calculate pips and gain and loss. All right, so $1,000 account, we want to risk 1%. So the very first thing that we have to do is calculate what 1% of 1,000 is, right? If we want to risk 1% of $1,000, we have to make that calculation, right? So here you basically just simply multiply 1,000 by 0.01, that 1% risk, and you get $10, right? So now we know the dollar amount that we want to risk. Step 2, we have to calculate the number of pips that we're risking, right? So let's say, for example, that we're risking 50 pips in this trade. We have a 50 pip stop loss, right? We have a 50 pip stop loss in this trade. Well, now that we know how much we want to risk, $10, and the number of pips that we're risking with our stop losses, how do we know what lot size to use? Well, here's a formula that you definitely want to remember, because this is going to show you how to calculate an appropriate lot size to use if you want to risk just 1%. So you take the amount that you're risking, $10, which we found in step 1. We divide it by the number of pips that we're risking, right? The stop loss. And that calculation will give us the dollar lot size that we want to use in order to risk just 1% of our capital on this given trade. All right, so $10 divided by 50 pips, that is a 20-cent lot size. And right, remember, we have to move that decimal point 1 spot to the left in order to find the lot that we want to plug into our MT4. So that will give us a 0.02 lot. All right, so $1,000 account, we want to risk 1%. That's $10. We have a 50 pip stop loss. So in order to find the lot size to use, in order to make this math work, it would be 20 cents. We use risk divided by pips. All right, so definitely take the time to understand this example. Again, there will be other risk management lessons that I'll be coming out with, just because this is such an important and invaluable topic when it comes to trading. But this is just a quick little example that I wanted to present to you guys. Now that, from this course, we've covered pips, lot sizes, and how to calculate your overall gain and loss on every trade. All right, so with that, thank you guys for tuning in. And if you appreciate this type of content, definitely leave a like down below, as well as comment any topic that you want to see covered in another beginner lesson. And definitely do not forget to subscribe for future content like this. All right, so with that, thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll check back with you guys very soon. Peace.